Hey, hello, and good morning. I am feeling good enough to stream again. Yay! It never really burst out the sickness, so I'm extremely happy that I can continue to stream. And then obviously I didn't stream uh, last time, the 2nd of October, because it was our Twitch mods, my brother's birthday. Thank you, everyone. He says thank you to everyone who who wrote. So thank you, thank you. It was awesome. Very good day. Even though it was on, what do you say? We weren't in the same country, but it was a very awesome Discord call. And thank you so much, Cleos, for the resub. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And congrats, Eagle, to first. Congratulations. Hello, everyone. Tahira, woohoo! I've been thinking of you reading this for days. 4 days? Damn. Thank you for thinking of me reading. And a little final smile in JP as well. Good morning. And I started a tiny bit later because I was like, I will eat breakfast first. And Kate is here as well. What a morning. What a morning. What a Monday. I've spent my weekend playing WoW. Getting ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow remix starts. Even though I think it's like at 6 in the afternoon. So maybe I'll start it on Wednesday. But still, it's so close now. I am so excited. I made an evoker yesterday, a augmentation evoker, the true support class. Never played evoker, but I was like, I'm interested. And so far, I've watched a video on like how I do it. How do I do it? Hell yeah. I'm super excited. I never played the other remix because I didn't I didn't play WoW then. So now I'm like, oh my god, I will do it. And I've heard that it's awesome. So I'm looking forward to it. And yes, you can post funny small clips and be famous now. If you saw, I just posted in the Discord that Twitch has a new thing that you can get a Twitch badge on my channel if you share clips. You just post the URL of your social media post and my channel. And that's it, basically. And then there are 3 tiers. You can be an icon, a clip icon, a clip pro, and a clip legend. And I was like, that sounds mildly interesting. And I also saw that there was a Shadow Slave competition. And I'm like, would have been fun. But holy shit, I have so much, like, it almost overwhelmed me. And I barely have any time. Because I feel like, I think it said that it started on the 9th and it's already the 6th. So I'm like, I'm not gonna have time to do this. I was mostly, if anything, looking forward then, since it said that Guilty 3 would react to some, and I'm like, so yeah. But then I'm also kind of just want to be like, sadly, Shadow Slave is behind us. What the fuck just happened? Huh? What the fuck is going on? Why is it? Oh, it's super zoomed in. Okay. Tweaked. Okay. And I kind of have to move on from Shadow Slave. RIP, you know? Even though I don't want to. But I did like the suggestions of the every mention of Egg Basket or the Bitchy Beth Boys. And the Kited, but it's like it will take so long to do that. And I won't know which video is what and all that shit. It would be fun to do, but not fun to do within 3 days. While I also do other stuff. It kind of came from nowhere. But. And hello, Makiek. Oh my god. In a time. You didn't even miss anything. But now we will start reading. Reading is what we will do. And we will be reading A Soldier's Life. And it was such a long time. I've been gone for a while. But I feel like I remember some parts, at least. I remember that Eryk asked the alchemist to make toothpaste because he thinks that his maid has bad morning breath. I remember that. And then he got jealous that said maid were like that the dragon riders might be on their way because she had some kind of romantic relationship, letter, sending letters to each other, blah blah blah, with one of the dragon riders. So Eryk is like, I can't take this. I have to leave. I'll be gone for a while. And then he takes Ginger to hang out with Mavieth instead. And then he brought Ginger inside and begs her not to shit everywhere. That also happened. So that's like basically what I can remember. So I'm like, I'll just go off of that and we will be fine. Right, yeah, exactly. And she was like, oh, the Dragon Riders. I used to write letters to one of those. And then he's like, uh-huh. Bitch, what? Yes, you do. You do. I have to punish you somehow because of how fast the fucking Marcel just became a thing. Okay. See ya, JP. Thank you for stopping by. Enjoy the story. I thought there was an ad break, so I'll just wait a little bit for it to be over and then I will start. Just lurk. We have a different story anyway. Is it made out of griffin feathers? Then I understand. I get it. Chapter 106. A watched pot always boils. I entered the dreamscape and was greeted by Oscar. He seemed so lifelike that I almost felt guilty for always leaving him here alone. Not that I could take him out of here anyway. I started by practicing with Xavier, Adrian, and Constantine for an hour. Using my air shield was becoming more natural. I was also improving by using fewer shields to conserve my meager ether. After combat training, I tried to change the walls of the dungeon again. The best I could do was paint them or smooth them out by adding material. I found it odd that the walls were apparent boundaries to the changes I could make in the amulet's dreamscape. Did that mean I could find where the dungeon hid its core? If this amulet was a copy of the dungeon when I first entered it, I should be able to locate the core. I traveled down to the scorpion room and started digging by mentally removing the sand. Now I'm having mic like, is it better if I talk like this? Or is it better if the mic is like here? If this way too close? Like, does this sound weird now? Is this worse or better? I traveled down to the scorpion room and started digging by mentally removing the sand. Both were. Sounds good to me. Well, maybe it's just louder now. Good. The room was a lot bigger than I expected, going down almost 30 feet before I hit the rocky floor that was not affected by my removal efforts. I completely emptied the entire room and could not find the core. I filled the room back up, disappointed, and watched the snails leave their glowing trails of slime. Maybe I was just assuming there had to be a dungeon core. Delmar told me a dungeon could be destroyed, so I assumed that meant shattering or taking a core. I returned to the first room and spent a few hours studying the spell form for slow aging. I spent a total of 6 hours in the dreamscape before returning. I felt completely rested and checked on Ginger. No mess. Let's go. Good job, Ginger. I took her outside to find it completely dark and a cold drizzle of rain picking up. The night felt alive with insects and the hoots of owls in the distance. Ginger seemed to realize why I had taken her out and quickly did her business without me having to lead her. That deserved an apple when we returned. Mavius was up when we went back inside and mumbled something about himself being a light sleeper. I patted Ginger and guessed maybe she was actually was housebroken. I went to sleep without the amulet and was sucked into a new nightmare. Castile had led us into the ruins of Caelora. It was midday, but the massive tree in the center of the dead city was blocking out the sun, and the city was dark. Black mold grew on all of the crumbling buildings. But we did not see any specters as we went deeper into the city. As we approached the massive trunk of the tree, Castile called for a halt. She had a worried expression and looked from the direction we had come. Row after row of silver specters blocked our retreat. To make matters even more terrifying, Two wispy black creatures stood in front of the Spectre army. Wraiths. As they charged us, I realized that I did not know what a Spectre looked like, which told me this was a dream. I just sent any Spectre that got close to me to my dimensional space. I started laughing maniacally that I had beaten the nightmare. Everyone was dumbstruck when all the Spectres and the two Wraiths were gone. Constantine, with his artificed weapon in hand, barked at me. Eryk, stop spoiling my fun! I woke shortly after with a grin on my face. I had controlled the nightmare somewhat, as I had done in the dreamscape. I dressed as I planned to ride back to the Citadel and help Decimus with the peppermint wash today. I found Maviot preparing breakfast with Ginger, literally looking over his shoulder, deciding if what he was cooking was edible for a horse. A large wicker basket of white truffles sat on the table. I sorted through the bulbous fungi. They looked like stunted potatoes to me. I sniffed one, and the smell reminded me of spicy garlic. This is great, Maviot. What do you want for these? Maviot was cooking a colorful array of vegetables in a cast iron pot. He looked at me. We are friends. An equal volume of food for the winter is acceptable. Something that would keep for months would be appreciated. I put one of Ginger's saddlebags on the table. I pulled out a stack of wrapped ration bars from my dimensional space and stacked them neatly on the table. I packed the off-white truffles carefully in the bag next. Maviot, let me know if these are fair. Come, Ginger, I will give you an apple outside. Ginger looked at the vegetables that were being cooked and then at me before walking outside with me. She had either understood my body language or my words. She was smart for a horse, but I had no idea how smart horses were. This world was different, so maybe she was not even a real horse. Imagine. I saw myself before I went down on an introspective rabbit hole. A horse was a horse, of course. Unless, of course, that horse was the famous Ginger. Ginger walked off while I walked around Maviot's rocks and stretched hides. I was looking for any tracks that would signal a dangerous predator visited the area last night. Maviot came outside chewing on one of the ration bars. This is pretty good. Better than truffles. A good trade, Eryk. It's a random dude that pissed off a wizard. Yeah, Ginger. It's like, can you stop? Oh, apple. But he loves apples. That's like the one thing that pisses him off. Is like, no, I'm not a horse. But then he sees an apple. He's like, ah. Glad you like them. Do you want another 20 for the weasel hide blankets? I asked hopefully. Maviot did not answer, but finished the bar he was eating and considering. The ration bars were not good, but not terrible, in my opinion. The bars were a dense, chewy core that was covered in a thick batter and then baked. The resulting meal bar was tightly wrapped in a wax leaf. They were calorie dense but on the dry side, requiring lots of water to get them down. I did not mind the taste, but even if it was bland, not even if it was bland. 20 bars for each one, Maviot finally decided. But I 100% heard I saw Marcel instead of I saw myself. Maybe I'm maybe I'm going mentally insane. It's like I am Marcel. Who knows? The VOD will decide. Will show the truth. The pelts were maybe 5 by 8. 5 by 8. The pelts were maybe 5 by 8 feet in size. The fur was short, fine and silky on one side and soft, velvety hide on the other. Each one would roll up to the size of a normal sleeping roll, but was twice as heavy. I thought I was getting a steal. Maviot, I can get you the bars when we return to the city. Agreed, he said. Breakfast is ready. He looked over at Ginger. She really was house trained. He said it like he had not believed me. I wouldn't believe him either. What the fuck do you mean? Of course she is, Mayfield. Let's eat and start on our way back to Sobral. I tied Ginger with a quick release knot to a tree and ate with Mayfield. Breakfast was carrots, yellow peppers, green onions, and potatoes with a cut-up sausage cooked in bacon fat. I packed up the weasel hides into tight rolls and packed them on Ginger. We made our trek back to Sobral. My Legion box was already full, so we only paused for mushrooms and flora that did not need to be fresh for the alchemist. As we were getting closer to the city, there were foragers in the woods again. While I stabled Ginger, Maviet went to the Citadel as he told me. I am supposed to check in with the Citadel captain when I am in the city. I will be in the Northwest Tower with the alchemist after I am done here. You can find me there, and I will have your meal bars. Maviet nodded, and we parted ways. When the stable boys were not looking, both pelts went into storage. Soon I finished with Ginger by giving her an apple. My last one. No! We have to get more apples. Priority 1. I carried 2 saddlebags to the Northwest Tower and started up the stairs. I paused, produced a sack, and filled it with 50 ration bars. The extra 10 were because I felt guilty for taking advantage of the Goliath, but maybe not. These meal bars would probably become quite valuable with the hard winter coming. Decimus had finished setting up his maze of tables and glassware. He were absorbed in his process and did not even see me enter. The windows were open, which was good as the number of oil burners made the room hot, and some smells around the tower's floor were unpleasant. Something definitely smelled like burning hair. Probably burning hair. Decimus, I have your truffles, I said, and his head snapped around, his eyes wide. Have you slept? I asked, concerned. Slept? What? No, too much to do. He waved his hands. All this needs to be watched carefully. You said truffles? His bloodshot eyes looked a bit maniacal. Maniacal. Is that how you say it? Like a maniac. Maniacal? I unloaded the bag of truffles on the table, the other saddlebag, and finally, my dimensional space filled with the ingredients best used fresh. I filled up the entire table, and Decimus attacked the piles with glee. Decimus, you said you would teach me how to make the peppermint wash. Although I was more inclined to offer him an oblivion pill than ask for his help at this moment. What? Yes, nice job with this. These truffles are fantastic. Come over here. We walked to a table where a glass container was boiling, and the steam was going up into the glass tubes. It cooled and then dripped down into a beaker. Now, this is a delicate process, he started. I rolled my eyes as he was just purifying water. He continued to explain, there are tiny particles in water. We are turning the water into steam to free it from the particles that cannot become steam. You can watch the process and ensure this large container stays half full. If the boiling gets too violent, remove the lid with the tongs here for a moment. Be careful because the boiling water can get too intense and explode. For my first lesson in alchemy, I was going to watch water boil. I almost wished to be training in the yard with Constantine over this. Maybe it rescued me an hour later. I think the stone tower shook when he climbed the stairs, but it was just his voice echoing. Eryk, is this the right tower? He called up as he climbed. So cute he is. I love him. Come on in, Mavius, I called. I am testing the theory that a watched pot never boils. So far, I have thoroughly debunked the myth. Mavius ducked through the stone archway and looked confused. Is he pink? Right. Yes, I answered for the alchemist, who was stunned at the sight of the Goliath. Looks like you two have not met yet. Mavius, this is Decimus. Decimus, this is Mavius. Decimus considered and then said, Be careful that you do not knock anything over. Mavius frowned at the insinuation. He was clumsy, just because he was so large. Decimus, I'm going to leave with Mavius. Your distillation of water is proceeding well. Maybe we can work on the other parts of the wash next time I come, I asked hopefully. I thought I had been patient and done a fantastic job watching the water turn to steam. I had to watch the water purification process for a week before I was allowed to work on compounds, Decimus replied seriously. I just nodded and had no plans to watch water boil for a week. Maybe I was not going to be an amateur alchemist. I don't think so. Maybe it said, Eryk, Delmar wanted to see you. Some goblins have been harassing farms in the west. He wants to send Flavius, you, me, and Blaze to handle it. Green? I asked, having learned that variety was a nuisance more than a threat. I believe so. A number of farms have been raided at night. Small animals keep disappearing. Delmar said we can leave tomorrow. I nodded, but was not looking forward to working with Flavius, who was already suspicious of me. I handed Mavius his sack of meal bars, and he looked inside with a huge grin. I guess he really did like the taste. We went and found Delmar drilling some citadel guards in the spear and shield. Wasn't Flavius the one that Castile also was like, oh, he's also a spy? Wasn't Flavius also a spy? Right? Because Flavius was off with the dragon rider boy looking for the thingy that we have, the scanner thing, the essence collector. I feel like Flavius was the one who no one likes anymore, because we learned that Castile was like, oh, fuck Flavius. If I have the wrong person, I'm sorry, Flavius. I take it back. Delmar paused to talk with me. Eryk, is the alchemist being kept busy? He should have enough supplies for a few days, I replied. Excellent. Farmers, a few miles from the city, are complaining about night raids. Chickens, piglets, and newborn sheep have gone missing. Leave tomorrow after the midday meal and spend the night to kill whatever is stealing them. Delmar issued his order. It was either him or Brutus, but no, Brutus. Brutus is peak. We love Brutus. He's the cutest. Who will be in charge, and who is going? I asked, even though Mavius had already told me. Delmar issued his orders. Flavius will lead you, the Goliath and Blaze. You are the freshest group. Everyone else has not returned from their week's rotation digging holes. No horses. You can walk there. The farmer's name is Cassio Servius. He has 2 young boys. He supplies a fair amount of grain to the city, so do a good job for him. Will 4 of us be enough? I asked, concealing my disappointment at being commanded by Flavius. We are fairly certain it is just a handful of goblins. We were told the tracks were goblins, and there do not seem to be many of them. Flavius is confident you 4 can handle it, Delmar said, dismissing me by returning to his instruction. Yes, he went off to find the collector, that's why he's suspicious. Wasn't the other spy Firth or... Ah! I thought it was Flavius. I don't remember how to spell his name. Because it's Constantine, obviously, because Constantine is with the whatever. Constantine is here to look after Castile. And look what Castile is doing. And Castile knows about it. And then I thought it was Flavius. But maybe it's Firth then. Because I was like, they have the same type of name. Because I think the one that went after the collector, we learned when he was gone that he was a spy. Because Castile told us. And we were like, aha. We didn't know. So it should be the same person. Because then we felt weird about him coming back. Since he was suspicious of us and with the collector and stuff. So it should be Flavius then. I think. Or I'm wrong and it's Firth. It's one of the F's. Mavius and I went to have lunch in the dining room. We found Blaze and Adrian eating at the table. Lunch was just cold sandwich wraps. A servant brought over a bench for Mavius, as he would not fit in the chair with armrests. Even after he sat, he had trouble with his knees bumping the table. Adrian apologized. Sorry to send you and Blaze out again so soon after our ride, but so many things are happening. What has been happening? I asked as I began to help myself to the sandwiches and weak ale. Constantine spies for the merchant lady and Firth to make sure she's loyal. Maybe now there's a third? Identify, remember. Yeah, of course. Constantine with the lady. And then it is Firth then. To make sure she's loyal. Okay. And then if anything, Flavius then. But it's probably Firth. Okay. I don't know anymore. We will see. We're learning with time. We will be reminded when it's important. Not much affecting the Sobral province. However, some of the western provinces have been requested to send double shipments of grain to the capital before the winter. The western provinces have not been hit with the summoned monsters. Duke Octavian controls about half of the grain production in the west, Adrian informed me. So that is good news. Octavian will be giving up more of his harvest, I deduced. Adrian barked a laugh. No. Most likely Duke Octavian will be getting a few favors from the Emperor if he does send the requested grain. It is burning Castile something fierce. Okay, it did say that. It is burning Castile something fierce that Duke Octavian may be seen as the hero in this war by providing food to the starving citizens this winter. He will make sure everyone knows it is his bread they're eating. Of that you can be sure. Like, yeah, he tags every bread. He puts a little label on it or something. Duke Octavians. We finished our meal and Adrian dropped more bad news on me. The company is moving to the Citadel barracks in a few days. Why? Are we expecting to be attacked? I asked, having flashes of being in the gate tower in Marcha during the siege. No, much worse. Countess Acella Angela and First Citizen Boris Angela will be arriving with their retinue. The Countess is the Duchess' mother, and Boris is her eldest brother. Okay, hold on now. The Countess is the one we have, Veronica. The Countess is the Duchess's mother. No, she's Duchess. Fuck. Duchess Veronica. Okay, so her mom, Acella Angela, and Boris is Veronica's older brother, or is it Veronica's uncle? I assume that it's Veronica's brother. So Veronica's mom and brother is coming. Okay. From what I understand, the Duchess's city is close to the eastern border, and she has decided it is time to visit her daughter in Sobral. The eldest brother is destined to take over the city, but is jealous of Veronica for being given a province to rule by the emperor. Okay, 100% Veronica's brother. Veronica outranks them both. What does that mean for us? Blaze asked my question before I could. Just stay out of their way. He nodded knowingly at us. Enjoy your last night with the personal servants. Ah, rip. I do not see that continuing while they are here. Understood, I said and stood. Mavieth, I have had the misfortune of fighting a lot of big things in the last 2 months. Do you want to go to the grounds and get some practice in? Mavieth looked at Adrian, who nodded. His deep voice bellowed. That sounds fun. Of course, my plan was to get enough time sparring with Mavieth to add him to my dreamscape. Like to add him to his collection, like a Pokemon card. That way, I could get a decent facsimile to practice against while I slept. Oh, this sounds interesting. Okay. Hello, Loco. Welcome. Welcome. The little soldier is doing good, but the little soldier might be we're having goblin issues right now. and family reunion is destroying his sex life. But he's doing good. And a hiccup, yes. Chapter 107. Not so secret anymore. My practice with Maviet was proceeding differently than I had envisioned. I was sprawled on the ground for the 5th time this afternoon. My ribs ached as Maviet extended his hand to help me stand. "You're too bloody strong, Maviet," I complimented him while wincing and focusing on secretly healing a cracked rib. I had not revealed my healing spell from Maviet. Spell form to Maviet, but he had become more aggressive with his swings when he noticed I recovered quickly from his strikes. "Your invisible shields are no fun to fight against either," he said, rubbing his groin absent-mindedly. He had run into one of the shields when we had started, but had become more cautious and intentionally kicked up more dust with his movements to reveal the air shields as the practice had proceeded. "I have had enough for today. You?" Maviet nodded in agreement, replacing his club on his belt. The practice yard had 5 young Citadel guards recruits drilled by the guard captain while I practiced with Maviet. They watched in disbelief as I, for the most part, held my own against the massive Goliath. That was until I ran out of ether and had to block his club with my standard shield. What I learned was I never wanted to be struck by a giant. Maviet's full force swing was strong enough to shatter my air shield. That was how he hit me for the first time. The shield slowed his club enough that he just knocked me to the ground, but still, I did not think it was fair. He was also faster than a man his size should be. His second successful strike surprised me with a snap leg kick to my chest. I had not thought he would use his feet in a fight. We walked toward the dining room, but I was covered in sweat and dirt. I was still unsure how my relationship with Larine would play out. She was no longer going to be my attendant. She was also clearly carrying a torch for her friend in the Dragon Legion. Wow, Eryk is pissed. We ended up being early for dinner and were giving trimmings of the unfinished roast and leaves of fresh herb bread. Maviet made a sandwich the size of my head and had no trouble consuming it. I filled up on the meat, folding it into the sliced bread. Flavius arrived as we were finishing the early meal. "You two will be coming with me to handle the goblin problem," Flavius said in a commanding statement. As he sat, servants placed plates in front of him. I waved the servant to get me some of the vegetables Flavius had been given. I recalled something, produced a pouch from under the table, and tossed it to Flavius. He caught the soft toss, and a look of recognition came across his face. I explained. "After you left with Mage Sebastian, I carried your pack. I thought you would want that back. 1 gold, 8 silver. Flavius was surprised and softened his features. "Thank you, Eryk." He put his coin pooch. "Hello, Tony. Tenoi. Tenoi Lumpy. Cute Lumpy." It's cute. "Hello, welcome to the stream. Sorry for not seeing you immediately." No, F. He put his coin pouch away. I had not taken anything from it, and I was sure he would confirm that later in private. Hopefully, that would earn me a few points with him. Mavius looked to Flavius. "I am happy to be working with you. It feels like I am a part of the company." "Oh, you are, Mavius, you are." "Goliath cannot join the Legion," Flavius stated flatly. Fucking be nice to him. "Why not?" I asked. "Mavius would make a hell of a legionnaire. Would cost 10 times what a normal man would be to clothe and feed him, but he would be 10 times as valuable on the battlefield." Mavius disagreed, shoveling more food into his mouth. "I only eat twice what a normal man eats, Eryk." He finished swallowing and added, "And a Goliath is worth over about 5 men on the battlefield." His absolutely serious delivery had Flavius and me make eye contact and then laugh. Flavius commented with a grin, "I would gladly fight beside a Goliath. They are great at drawing the enemy attacks." Flavius absently stripped the meat from a drumstick with his teeth. "I can see what you mean. No longer being the tallest man in our company would be welcome. How about it, Mavius? Join Castile's company?" I asked in jest. Oh, what if he says yes? Oh, he's like, "Yeah, I want to." And I would love him to come with us. Yeah. Adrian walked into the dining room, and he had obviously been listening. "I can make that happen. You cannot be a legionnaire, Mavius, but you can be logged as a huntsman, guide, or porter for the company." "Huntsman?" Mavius' deep voice rang out in the hall, focused on the first job. Adrian sat and talked while he was served. Huntsman is a mix of guide and purveyor of supplies, basically an additional scout for the company. They are also expected to help us in a fight. Delmar has paid a few in the past to keep our supplies topped off when we are not near a legion hall. He started eagerly on the food placed before him. Guides are locals that help us in unfamiliar terrain, but do not fight with us. "I think you would make a great porter," I rejoined the conversation. I assumed the porter just carried the legion gear. Adrian was cleaning a chicken leg. "We usually only use porters when we cannot bring horses along for an extended assignment outside the cities." Adrian sipped his goblet of wine. "Also, Mavieth is contracted to the Duchess as a warden, so we would need her to release him from her service." He sized up to Goliath. "But I would welcome you as well. Castile would not be opposed either." Mavieth was reflecting on the offer as he took advantage of the continuous plates of food being delivered by the servants. "I would have to travel with you. Leave my cabin." I was gonna say, but he made his cabin. He built it himself. But I would love it if Mavieth were forever with us, like for the rest of the novel. Like, please. Hello there, Monty. Welcome back. Nice seeing you again. We are currently reading a novel called A Soldier's Life by Always Rosa 1. We are on chapter, what are we now? 107, I think. And it's an isekai. And we are with Eryk, who has been turned into a legionnaire, just trying to survive. And there's also magic and stuff. It's very nice. And we have a Goliath friend named Mavieth, who we all love. And a horse named Ginger. A few. Just a tiny bit. Maybe, I will admit. But I hope you enjoy nonetheless. Where was I even? Leave my cabin, right? Adrian nodded. Contracts are usually termed and paid up front. You would travel with us and be given a Legion of the Lion badge. It will allow you to use the Legion halls with us. I was confused and asked, "I thought the Empire did not allow non-humans." Flavius answered me with a serious tone. "Mage commanders have more discretion. I have seen halflings and even a dwarf attached to a mage company in the past." Okay. Mavia's voice rumbled. "I will consider your offer." Yay! "I have many endeavors going on at my cabin." He looked to be thinking and whispered to himself, "I have missed having others to talk to. My fellow wardens generally do not like company." Oh, he wants a friend, but he's our friend. Blaze came in with Lucian. "We moved our packs to the barracks, Adrian. When are the guests arriving?" "Thank you, Blaze. They arrived in the portal in Parvis yesterday, so maybe 5 days to make their way down the trade road." Adrian answered. I inquired, "Can I move into the northwest tower instead? The floors below the alchemists are empty." Adrian looked thoughtful, so I added, "It would make it easier as I'm helping him gather ingredients and have to help 1 day a week with his apparatus." Adrian slowly nodded. "I will ask Castile and the Duchess. Perhaps we will move a few of the company there. It is at the outer wall. I confirmed. It is. About 100 feet is cleared from the wall to the woods, and the view looks out over the trees. Good. I will let you know when you return from your goblin hunt. Adrian took his wine goblet and left the dining hall, presumably to talk with Castile. I had some idle talk with Lucian about how Ginger was doing. Mavieth, of course, informed everyone at the table that Ginger was house-trained. I can't. Yes, he is. She is. Which got a lot of laughs until he understood he was absolutely serious. Lucian gave me a curious look, and I just shrugged. It was not like I had trained the horse. Maybe it really did have a big mouth. I would have to be cautious about what I said and did around him in the future. I went to my room, probably for the last time, and drew a bath. The water was actually hot this evening, so the servant with the spell form to heat metal was on duty. Without Lorene around, I did my best to clean up and pack for tomorrow's expedition. I briefly wondered how Constantine was doing in his search for signs of the elven summoner. I was sure he was fine and did not feel guilty at all for not going with him. I was in bed early and considered using the amulet. Lorene was already aware of it, so there would be no harm. I much preferred the controlled dreamscape to the unpredictable nightmares I seemed to have. Also, I missed Oscar. I entered the dreamscape and played ball with Oscar for a time before taking a seat in the comfy chair to study the spell form for slow aging. Oscar stretched out in my lap for a belly rub. It was much more complex than the other spell forms, and there were a number of warnings in the text about mistakes not to make. For instance, I could write the spell form accidentally and not include all of my body. Granted, this was less likely since the warnings were directed at mages who lacked a high enough time affinity to imprint the spell form. Still, I would proceed with caution. I was a few hours in when a voice cut my studies. Where is this place? Where is this place, right? I snapped up to see Lorene standing in the middle of the entry chamber. Sorry, what? Like, actually? Did she act? Is that possible? Like, did you? Huh? Bruh. Oscar looked at me and then at Lorene. Thanks for letting me know, boy. I stood up, Oscar hopping off my lap and his bobtail wagging as he went to greet Lorene. Lorene, what are you doing here? Did you channel Ether into my amulet? 1,000 things were going through my mind right now. I thought the worst case scenario was she would pick up the amulet again and take me out of the space. I had not thought two people could utilize the amulet at the same time. Lorene was walking toward the shelf of books, and I intercepted her. Did you channel Ether into my amulet? The one under my shirt? Oh my god. Lorene knows. I repeated with a little bite this time. Lorene was trying to read the titles from 20 feet away, but I kept blocking her. What? Yes? I figured out what it was. This is pretty boring. She gestured to the rock chamber. I thought you had a better imagination than this, Eryk. She was walking toward the opening of the Angeg room, since I blocked her path to the bookshelf. What the fuck? You need to leave, I said firmly. Lorene ignoring me and continued to the next room. I followed her to the chamber. He's very cool about it though. Like he's not doing much to stop her. Adrian, Xavier, Lucian, Mavieth, Constantine, and Blaze were playing cards at a table. I had set up the poker table out of some guilt, as I did not know how real these dreamscape people were. I need to keep the pocket. He feels bad about the dream people. That's cute though. I can relate. I would probably do the same. But it's funny that he gave them fucking a poker table. Oh. I figured I could at least give them something to do while I studied. Constantine stood eagerly. Are you ready to get some practice and stop wasting time studying books, Eryk? Lorene paused, processing what she saw, so I rushed back and exited the dreamscape. I found Lorene straddling me with her hand under my shirt, holding the amulet. I pushed her off and sent the amulet to my dimensional space. I pushed her a little hard. Shit, this is not going well. Lorene rolled to the floor with a thud, disoriented. Lorene quickly gained her senses. Why did you do that? She said, dismayed. I did not give you permission to use the amulet, I growled. It is a dreamscape amulet. We can do anything inside it. Oh, she looked confused. Why are you upset? Did you tell anyone I had this? I asked, forcing myself to cool off. What? No? I just figured it out this afternoon. I was thinking about the dungeon artifacts we studied at the Emperor's Palace. It was the only thing that made sense. She stood and went defensive, rubbing her hip, which had bounced on the floor. I can keep a secret, she said indignantly. Ooh, uh-huh. Eryk, you better be nice to her. I relaxed. If she studied it, I briefly thought maybe she could tell me more about the device so I could use it more effectively. I shook my head. Please do. It is precious to me, and this private space is the only way I can get a good night's sleep. I looked at her pleadingly. But, she started. What were you reading? She did not realize it was the wrong question. I decided that maybe I could not afford to trust her. Too many secrets were on those shelves. It is not important. Just do not tell anyone about it. I redirected the conversation. I need to pack, I said, grabbing a glowstone. The legionnaires are being sent to the barracks. Lorene frowned, biting her lip. That is not for a few days. We still have a few nights together. Oh my god. I said with manufactured disappointment. No, I'm leaving tomorrow to hunt goblins, I informed her. I started packing the new armor that the Duchess had made for me. Lorene sat on her heels on the bed in her nightshirt, watching me and not helping. Why was she gonna help? Well, I guess, nah. I was worried about what was going on in her mind. She's a woman. I dressed in my old armor and bundled the new armor for transport. She's thinking about, what the fuck did he read? What the fuck? Does he like me or not? What the hell am I gonna do? What, he's leaving? Do I like him? Or do I like the Dragon Rider? I don't know. That's what she's thinking. As I finished bundling up the armor, Lorene pleaded. I'm sorry. I will not tell anyone about your dungeon amulet. We still have tonight. Okay. Maybe either she thought, okay, I do like him, or like, at least I want to fuck him. And then a dragon rider comes, and then I can switch. Lorene. Typical Lorene. Right? I shouldered my backpack. I have a few things to get done before dawn. Oof, Eryk. I nodded, started walking out of the room, and turned around. I approached the bed, and Lorene looked hopeful. But I grabbed my Gryffindor pillow before continuing my dramatic exit. Oh my god. Who is the drama queen now? Eryk. Wow. He means I'm leaving, Lorene. It's like, she looked hopeful. Eryk, it's not her fault that she had someone before you. He's so petty. Oh. I walked the empty hallway at night, headed toward the northwest tower. Maybe Decimus was awake. Or do you want to have a chance with Decimus instead? Fuck it, I'll take Decimus over Lorene. Damn. Decimus was sleeping in his cot in a dimly lit alchemy lab. A lot of burners had been doused or were no longer heating anything. At least the man was getting some needed rest. I went to the floor below and sent the new armor to my storage. See, he even cares about him getting his rest. He's like, oh, I'm happy. He needs this, you know? I retrieved one of the weasel pelts and my pillow to sleep on the stone floor. It was definitely getting colder at night. I tossed and turned while I tried to sleep. I had never been good in relationships, but everyone would agree Lorene was in the wrong here. Not me. I mean, no, we don't. If she doesn't have a boyfriend, she can do whatever the fuck she wants, bro. She had they wrote like one letter to each other. I don't even know if she said she responded or if it was he who didn't respond. I feel like he sent one. I feel like she said like, oh, he used to send me letters. I don't even know if she responded, bro. It's like, maybe they're not together anymore. What has she done wrong? Entering the dreamscape? Yeah, that wasn't cool of her. But I don't feel like that's what he's talking about. Because he's talking about relationships. What has she done wrong? I thought maybe I should talk with her before I left and apologize anyway. Even when I was right, my past girlfriends always appreciated my capitulation when we argued, and I needed Lorene to keep my secret. My past girlfriends always appreciated my capitulation when we argued. Oh my god. I love it. Oh. Yes. Can relate. I have to win. But that's me though. I did not see Lorene at breakfast. No shit. And Flavius was anxious to leave, even though we were not expected to leave until after midday meal. Shortly after breakfast, Blaze, Flavius, Mavius, and I were walking down the road toward the farm with goblin problems. Top tier self-gaslighting. Hello, Fritz. Welcome, welcome. A new name in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Fritz the Bard, I like it. Oh. If you don't know, we're reading A Soldier's Life by Always Rolls a 1. We'll start chapter 108 now, I think. If anyone wants to see the previous chapters, they're all on my YouTube channel as well, if you want to tag along. Or you can just start right now. And if you have any questions, just ask, and I may or may not be able to answer them. She did kind of invade his privacy, and Eryk has some secrets that will make him the most wanted guy in the Empire. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like, she should not do that, especially if she knows what it is. Like, but then again, she doesn't know that he has this stuff. But yes, 100%. I agree that Lorene is wrong with entering his dreamscape. I was only referring to the whole if he says that Lorene is wrong in having slept with Eryk when she has some type of relationship with the dragon rider. That's what I was referring to. The dreamscape, 100%, she should not have done. No. I was correct, it was 108. Let's go. Chapter 108. Goblin Slaughter. Ooh. Maybe this is gonna go crazy. The road was wet with light rain from last night. I walked next to Maviet with Flavius and Blaze in front. My mind was still turning over the fact that Lorene knew I had a dreamscape amulet. She might know what it was, but I doubted she'd figured out just how valuable it was. I'm immediately like, yeah, because she has to be stupid. 6,000 gold was a fortune in the Italian Empire. I also wanted to keep how I obtained it a secret. Maybe I was selfish, but I did not want to share it. Well, 100% it's yours. Lorene did teach me something interesting about the artifact. More than one person could use it at a time, which raised more questions. Was there an upper limit to the number of people? Did everyone using the amulet have the same amount of control over the environment? Would the amulet reset if others activated it? I'm just having a feeling right now that is her name Rena? The girl that likes us, that likes Eryk, who was with us in the dungeon, in the Griffins, the mage. She will enter the dreamscape at some point. Has to. I'm seeing it. It will happen in the future. Vroom. I was distracted from my thoughts by Blaze and Flavius talking. Blaze asked, "Why are we going to kill goblins?" This seems just the type of easy assignment the Duchess' new guards could wet their lips on. Flavius answered. I asked to go when I heard about the farmer's request. Ooh. Blaze pressed. Why? Flavius was quiet for a good few minutes. Then he sighed and admitted. The last goblin uprising, some 20 years ago, when they came north in numbers from the mountains, my family was killed. Killing them helps me feel like I'm getting revenge. Okay. You're sane. Mavius had overheard as well as said. Goblins breed quickly, and they have cities deep in the earth filled with them. Most of what you find on the surface are exiles or wanderers. Flavius stopped walking and turned around. How do you know that? Mavius shrugged. There was a goblin sailor on one of the ships I was voyaging on. He was a bit of a pariah like me. Pariah? Like the fish. And we talked at night on deck. Seeing Flavius' intense stare, Mavius added. He was not a bad sort, but I have also killed my fair share of his kind, and have no reluctance to kill more. Flavius nodded at Mavius. Wow, Mavius! Damn. Holy shit, stone cold. Flavius was also interested in learning more about what Mavius knew. What did he tell you about the underground cities? Mavius scrunched his face, retrieving the memories. The goblin cities have thousands of goblins. They grow and eat mushrooms and lichen. Lichen? They fish in underground lakes for blind frogs and fish. The goblins are constantly living on alert. He talked mostly about the horrors of the endless dark and why he fled. What the fuck is the endless dark? Blaze, also interested in the lore, asked, What horrors? Giant tunneling purple worms down there are a blessing and curse. Sorry, what? How are they a blessing? Because they make the tunnels, maybe? They created networks of passages down there, yeah, but are also nearly unkillable and mindless. Ugh. Other than that, there are dark elves, kobolds, dwarves, hibernating dragons, and wandering monsters that escape the confines of the dungeons, Mavius said, pulling from his memory. I don't think I want to visit, Blaze commented. Mavius huffed an amused breath. Flavius nodded slowly, accepting the answer. The last goblin uprising was a larger horde than anyone thought possible. If those from the endless dark reinforced them, then that makes sense. He turned and started walking. No matter. We will kill what goblins we find tonight. We passed a wagon of refugees every hour as we walked. Most were thin and dirty. I had no idea how the Duchess would handle the constant stream of people. The walk to the farm was just over 4 hours, and we waited for Flavius to talk to the farmer in the field for directions. When Flavius returned, he explained. The 2 buildings there are where the goblins have been raiding at night. Chickens and piglets so far. But they will get bolder soon. The farmer has not seen them, but the tracks he found indicate there are maybe half a dozen. Eryk and I will explore beyond the fields, and you 2 can make camp in that building, he pointed. I followed Flavius while Mavius and Blaze set up inside the building. As we walked, I scanned the ground with Flavius, looking for signs. Last night's light rain had softened the soil and made tracks difficult to see. Flavius pointed under some trees. There, I can see the goblins cut the branches to make a path. I nodded but did not see anything until we approached. The goblins were only 3 feet in height, so they cleared the lower branches enough for them to pass easily. Flavius studied the small footprints under the tree. He looked up. Lots of prints, but it could be the same goblin over and over. Definitely goblin prints and fresh. The farmer was right. I will go and tell him. Pick out some spots for snares. As Flavius left, I was at a loss for choosing the best spots for snares. I did not even know how to set snares. When Flavius returned, I told him as much. I have never hunted with snares before. Can you show me? Flavius seemed a little annoyed, but did explain. He pulled out some fine metal wire. We will drive a stake into the ground to anchor one end of the wire. On the other end, we will make a loop like this, he demonstrated. And this will hold the goblin. Won't they just cut the wire? I replied, holding a length of the thin wire. The green ones are too stupid. The wire kinches into a knot as well. Normally, I would use this for rabbits, but I have found it works just as well on goblins. They struggle, and the wire cuts into the flesh all the way to the bone, making it near impossible to remove without cutting deep into the leg, he explained. He dropped 6 prepared 20-inch stakes from his pack. I helped him for the next hour, driving the stakes in with a rock, and set the wires so that the goblins likely triggered them. He only set the traps on their likely path of retreat into the woods, which I had not thought about. It seemed a little cruel. I remembered the green goblins I killed in the stables. They seemed more like helpless children than anything. I also did not foresee any opportunity to harvest essence from the goblins we killed with my present company. It would be even more dangerous to use Durandus' collector with Flavius here. After the midday meal, we returned to the barn where Maviet and Blaze had made camp. It was a livestock building with pigs, chickens, and goats. The smell was not appealing, but this was where we needed to be to confront the goblins. Flavius inspected the barn and pointed. The windows. When they arrive, 3 of us will use the windows to catch them outside. Catch me outside. Neptune willing. His tear will shine bright tonight, and we will have clear targets with our bows. I looked and realized I would not be one of the 3 jumping out the window. Flavius, Blaze, and Maviet were all the archers in our group. I did not even have a bow. Well, not a bow they knew about. So Maviet is gonna jump out a window. I hope that it's a big window, because otherwise Maviet will not make it. We will not leave the barn again for fear of being spotted. Goblins rise about 2 hours before sunset and are active through the night, Flavius educated us. Blaze complained. I am going to smell like a pig. Are you sure we can't wait on the roof? Flavius looked up. I doubt it could support your weight. Definitely not the Goliaths. We will wait under those windows, and when the sun sets, we will remain completely silent and wait. We ate dinner. Maviet happily ate 2 of the ration bars I bartered with him. Blaze had packed our food. The overwhelming smell of the animals made the honey-sweet rolls, sugar beets, and sweet jerky not as tasty. I also guessed Blaze had a bit of a sweet tooth from his selection. Only sugar. We whispered to each other as evening came. Flavius told the farmer our plan, so he was not going to visit the barn. It meant that we had to feed the animals, which somehow fell to me. I wonder why. I probably gave them too much, but they did not complain. The sky was clear when the sun set. Neptune's tear was soon bright, and we all went silent. The animals had become comfortable with us and were trying to sleep, making weird sounds from flatulence, and constantly moving to get comfortable. After an hour, I thought the goblins would stand us up. After 2 hours, I was sure of it. Then one of the sows squealed in unhappiness, and her piglets made soft panicked squeals, trying to hide under her. Other animals started to get anxious as well. The goblins must be near, and the animals could smell or hear them. We still waited for Flavius' signal. My job was to kill any goblin inside the barn. My hand was making my hilt sweaty as I waited perfectly still. The barn door rattled as the goblins removed the simple bar holding it closed. I could hear them talking in their coarse language as they entered. Okay, so they're smart enough to open a door by removing a bar. Sure, it says that it's a simple bar, but they're not smart enough to cut a wire. They sounded suspicious. This would be the 3rd night in a row they raided the same farm. They were not too bright as they entered anyway. We waited as they entered the barn. A piglet squealed in dismay as it was seized by a goblin who ran out the door with it. The sow crashed in her stall, upset. Finally, Flavius yelled, "Now!" I rushed out of my dark corner, tossing a glowstone from its black bag. I heard the windows open as the others made their way outside. In the barn's center were 4 short goblins and 1 much larger goblin. He was almost my height, but still had green skin. The three small ones looked to him for guidance. He wielded something and rushed me. He had a rusty longsword, which was a surprise in itself. I made an air shield to block his clumsy swing, then stabbed him in the throat. Well, rip. He dropped his sword and grabbed at my blade, sticking in his neck, surprised he had been struck so quickly. The three small ones bolted for the door, now that their leader was dead. I caught one in the back of the head as it ran, but the other two were through the door, and now the archer's problem. I searched the barn as I heard bow twangs outside and shrieks of pain from the goblins. I found one tiny goblin, no taller than 2 feet in height, crouched in an empty pen. It was shaking so violently that I felt pity for it. I could move the creature to my storage, but did I really want to bottom out my ether right now? We were in the middle of a fight. What would I even do with the goblin child? I was indecisive as the smell of urine became even more pronounced amongst the animals. You are a fucking idiot, Eryk. I moved the goblin to my storage. No! Bottoming out my ether. At least he tells himself that he's an idiot. Why? Eryk, now you have a goblin child. Now what? What are you gonna do with it? Are you... Oh... Like, you're gonna have to kill it at some point, or you're just gonna release it randomly somewhere? Like, please, dude. Oh my god. I grabbed my glowstone and confirmed the rest of the barn was clear. And I joined the others outside. The blue water moon gave us enough light to see. Mavith was retrieving an arrow from a goblin corpse, and Blaze and Flavius were walking toward the woods. It looked like a pair of goblins were caught in the snares we had set. I got 2. How many did you get out here? I asked Mavith. Mavith's deep voice came back. Blaze got 3, and Flavius and I 2 each. 4 made it into the woods, and another 2 were caught. He pointed. I hustled to catch up to Flavius and Blaze. Flavius hissed. Caution, Eryk. There were more than I assumed. One of the ones we killed had a sling, too. One of the ones in the barn was as tall as me and had a sword, I replied. Hag's curses on us. A hobgoblin. I just shrugged, not knowing what a hobgoblin was. Kill the 2 in the snares while we cover you, Flavius ordered. What is he gonna do if those are also children, Is he gonna take them as well? I hope he names it something funny. The goblin? He has a goblin now. Oh. Here, Loreen. Boblin the goblin or something. Oh my god. I wonder how long he's gonna have it for. Crazy. I crouched and approached the woods, looking for movement in the shadows. The first goblin was trying to cut off his foot with a rusty knife, and I ended his torment with my blade. I almost tripped on another snare, reaching the second goblin. The second goblin was slightly smarter. It had dug up the stake and was carrying it into the woods, limping. But as soon as it stood, Blaze put an arrow into his throat. Okay. I backed away from the wood line to talk with the others. Flavius had us return to the barn. 2 got away, but that is not a hobgoblin at least. Looks like a half-breed between a red and a green. Blaze asked, what do we do? We got 11 of them. We got 11 of them, and 2 got away. The world is a better place for it. Most likely, those 2 will not stop running till morning. We will bury the corpses in the morning, Flavius informed us. Do we have to sleep in the barn? Blaze asked, hopeful of an alternative. Flavius nodded. Yes, it will be safer. We will scout the woods in the morning for tracks to make sure this pack of goblins is not much larger than the 2 that got away. We dragged my 2 goblins outside and slept in the barn. The animals were upset all night due to the smell of blood, and I did not sleep well with the noise. The piglet that had been snatched by a goblin returned in the middle of the night, and Flavius volunteered me to go outside and bring it to its mother. When I came back inside, I noticed Flavius shifting in his bedroll by the window. I was immediately suspicious. Did he check on me? Was he thinking I might use the collector on the dead goblins? I was going to have to be cautious around him. In the morning, we dug a trench while the farmer watched, satisfied with our work. We dumped the bodies inside and covered them in dirt. We walked the woods, and Flavius identified 4 sets of tracks fleeing away. We tracked them for half a mile before returning to the farm. Flavius talked to the farmer, and then we started our walk back to Sobral. What was I going to do with the goblin child in my storage? Yeah, you should have thought about that, It could make a nice distracting snack for a monster or just a distraction. Or maybe I could try harvesting its essence. While it lives. Okay. When we arrived in Sobral, I looked forward to a bath and rest. I looked forward to what I was going to do with the goblin. Flavius went to make a report to Castile and the Duchess. I went to the kitchens as it was between midday and dinner. I still smelled like at the barn, and they chased me out, handing me a plate of food. I found the common baths in the citadel and washed up before climbing the northwest tower to get some much-needed sleep on the unoccupied floor below the alchemist. I was in a mostly hidden corner of the floor when I donned my amulet and fell into the dreamscape. He didn't want to kill the child, now he's performing experiments on it, right? Who fucking knows, dude? Eryk is such a weirdo. I love him. Chapter 109. The Duchess's Mother. Oh, here we go. I felt secure in my little corner of the town as I entered the dreamscape. Oscar was there to greet me, and I gladly spent a few minutes rubbing his furry belly. I planned to limit my time in the dreamscape to just 4 hours unless I knew I would not be disturbed. I spent my time studying the spell form tonight. I wanted to learn slow aging as soon as possible. When I returned from the dreamscape, it was dark outside, and apparently no one had found me bundled in the weasel pellets. Still mentally fatigued from the goblin hunt, I returned for 4 more hours of study in the dreamscape. It was still dark when I came out the second time, but I could hear Decimus working above. He apparently liked to talk to himself when he was exhausted. 8 hours in the amulet had washed away my fatigue like a full night's sleep. I climbed the stairs to help him until sunrise and breakfast. The smell of peppermint was strong in the room, and I was hopeful my mouthwash was among his processes. Decimus, how goes the alchemy? The pink man jumped in surprise. Eryk, I was told you were off killing goblins. That was yesterday. Today, I am hoping to get my peppermint wash. I sniffed around the room, walking toward the strongest scent of peppermint. Ah, yes. I purified the lavender yesterday and started in on the peppermint oil this morning. Maybe another day or 2. Do you want to see the process? The excitable pink alchemist asked. I indicated he should proceed. Just like the lavender, you grind up the leaves into a mash. Then you use the same equipment for the water purification, but this time you need pressure to force the oil into the air. As he explained the process, he did not understand the chemistry as much as a true scientist from Earth. I paid close attention. It was dangerous as hot liquids were under pressure as he worked. The final collection... Voice death. The final collection beaker had a slow drip of oil. I tapped the flask and asked, probably don't tap the flasks. Why not cover the collection beaker? Couldn't dust contaminate it? Decimus' eyes widened in surprise. Are you sure you're not an alchemist? All my special collection beakers are being used. He pointed at 2 tables that had a number of sealed beakers that were collecting fluids and gas from a maze of glass pipes. He sniffed the peppermint oil. This oil's purity is generally not as important in balancing the reaction. The wash is just 1 cup of pure water, 11 drops of lavender oil, 12 drops of peppermint oil, some concentrated hawthorn berry juice, and a pinch of sapphire dust. Stir and activate with a wisp of ether. He stopped the collector of the peppermint oil by removing the flame and moving a few apparatus. I guess I have enough to make some if you want to watch. He smiled, his bright white teeth beaming. Show me your skills, I encouraged the pink man. I watched as he calm down. He does not say stood, it says took. It is hard. to read. I watched as he took a large glass cup and measured out the water, carefully pipetted drops of lavender and then peppermint oil. Nothing magical had happened. He took a pouch of powder and added a tiny pinch of the blue-white dust. Sapphire dust, he informed me. He then rapidly stirred the mixture. He paused and dipped his finger in, and the mostly clear concoction suddenly sparked blue and emitted a glow. The glow faded, and Decimus frowned. Thank you, I will drink. Did it not work? I asked at his disappointment. The air smelled like a peppermint aerosol. No, it was a success. The ingredient harmonization was not very strong, though. The stronger the glow when the ether catalyzes the ingredients, the better the potion. He looked at his ingredients and mumbled to himself. Probably did not wash the leaves well enough. I picked up the drink and sniffed it. A strong peppermint smell wafted from it. So just take a sip, swish, and spit, I asked reluctantly. Decimus went to his alchemy book and read. Peppermint wash is designed to cleanse the mouth and whiten teeth. It should ease rotting teeth as well. A dose is 1 mouthful. Hold it inside for 20 heartbeats and spit it out. Do not swallow. Bottoms up. I raised the glass and took a mouthful. About a quarter of the concoction filled my mouth. I held it for a moment and felt the familiar taste of peppermint spread, saturating my taste buds. A tingling feeling spread through my gums and into my teeth. Decimus was watching me closely. He seemed to realize something and grabbed a bucket for me to spit into. I spit into the bucket and ran my tongue across my teeth. The minty feeling remained, and my teeth felt polished. Decimus told, imagine if it was this easy to just, in the morning, and before you go to bed and when you wake up, to just, instead of brushing your teeth, you could just do this. And it's like, ta-da! And like, oh, please. I hate brushing my teeth. It's such a time waste. I do it, of course, but it's annoying. And it's like, oh, 2 minutes, yes, but it's 2 minutes too long. So it's a stupid process that I have to do. Don't like it. Decimus tilted his head to look in my mouth. I showed him my teeth. Ah, great! It worked! He exclaimed. My first time trying to brew this potion. Your teeth are whiter, and your gums look healthier. I might have to try it myself, he mumbled softly. After a few days, to ensure there were no side effects. I kept running my tongue over my teeth. My mouth really felt better. It felt like I had just swished a healing potion around it. Why is this potion not more popular? It is in the capital, but the cost to make it. But the cost to make it. He weighted his equipment. I would charge maybe 50 silver for the 2 days of work involved in preparing the potion. And not all potions catalyze properly. If the ether didn't combine the lavender and peppermint, my 2 days of effort would have been wasted. Does that happen often? Failure, I questioned. He looked askance. I've never heard this word. Askance? Not for me. I'm quite good at monitoring the purification process, but maybe the variant of peppermint I selected would not have harmonized with the lavender. Alchemy is very complex, Legionnaire. How much longer to have you prepare me 10 more cups? I inquired. Holy. Decimus frowned. I do not have time. This was a favor to you. Maybe after the winter when the herbs are fresh, he offered. I sighed, took the cup with the 3 doses remaining, and moved it to my dimensional space. Decimus frowned, realizing he wouldn't get to try it. Yeah, fuck you. This is mine. You said it has a short shelf life. You have a list of other things you need. I am supposed to keep you stocked. I added, trying to plan out my day. The sky was graying from the early morning approaching. Decimus rapidly wrote the list on a torn piece of yellowing parchment, and I went to the dining room. An unfamiliar servant directed me to the barracks on the east side of the citadel. As I walked to the stone building, I realized that our company had been kicked out of the citadel. Most of the company was inside the common room. Brutus chirped, seeing me. Eryk, We thought you were caught in another clusterfuck with goblins. I should have never taught him that word. No, it was the best thing you've ever done, Eryk. Best thing. I came and sat at his table with Felix, Firth, and Willie. Everyone was smiling as they engaged me in conversation. Willie asked, "How did the goblin hunt go?" Blaze did not say much before he left to dig holes, and Flavius is never around. I pulled a jar of jam and bread toward me before answering. It went well, other than having to sleep in a barn. I think I can still smell the pigs on my clothes. I leaned into Brutus. "Smell my breath." Brutus leaned away, interposing his hand to my mouth. "Is this some joke?" I grabbed his wrist, pulled it aside, and breathed it into his face. Brutus had been too slow to react. "What the—" He sniffed the air. "Is that mint? Been chewing on mint leaves? That gives you the shits, you know, Eryk." "No, it is a mouthwash the alchemist is working on. 50 silver for 4 doses, I replied to my table. Firth said, disgusted, "Do not get that pink man sidetracked. I would much rather have a healing potion in hand when my guts are spilling out than minty breath." The table laughed and agreed with Firth. Yes, so do I. In spite, I decided not to tell them about the importance of dental hygiene and asked, "So, how have things been on your end?" Felix answered, "Great. Now that the Duchess has been hiring the refugees to dig the holes, we just have 4 men out there guarding them now." I asked, "How will she feed all these refugees during the winter? At the rate they are arriving, it does not seem sustainable." Firth responded by slapping the table. "Exactly what I told Castile and the Duchess. Not that they listened to me. We have been patrolling the city at night to help the guard. Burglaries are starting to increase, and the citizens are blaming the refugees. Soon things will boil over. I've seen it before." Brutus shook his head. "He exaggerates. There have only been 2 thefts from homes in the last 2 days. No more than normal." He looked at me. "Maybe we can get you on a night patrol. I'm sure a legionnaire with minty breath will pacify the angry populace." Adrian came and joined us at the table. "Eryk, where did you sleep last night? I sent Benito to find you." "I was in the Northwest Tower. We had a rough night handling the goblins. I just wanted some quiet," I said, finishing my meal. "Northwest Tower? Ah, yes, I talked to the Duchess about that. She said it was fine. But there are no fireplaces. It was also stripped of furniture," Adrian informed me, chewing on his meal. "I am fine with sleeping on the floor," I said after a little thought. "Good." Good. "We will move all the scouts there and Maviet as well." Adrian laughed as I made an unhappy, surprised face. "Thought you would be alone to do what you wanted in the middle of the night." Oh! I ignored the implication. "Is Maviet part of the company then? Has Constantine returned?" I asked. The table got quiet, and Adrian shook his head. "Not yet, but the Duchess has given the Goliath permission to leave her service for Castiles. As to Constantine, he should have returned in by now." My heart raced a little in guilt. "Are we going to look for him then?" Adrian grimaced. "No. Other plans are being made. Scholar Flavian has made progress." I realized that Adrian's grimace was twofold. One for Constantine and one for the likelihood of having to enter the spectral city of Kaelora. "For now, you can find a bed somewhere to bring the Northwest Tower and continue to help the alchemist." His tone changed to commanding. "I do not want to hear about you wandering off to look for Constantine." I nodded in understanding. Adrian stood and left our table. "I could use some help carrying a bed to the Northwest Tower," I asked my table. Everyone was suddenly done with breakfast and had somewhere else to be. Fair. I found Mavieth in the gardens and got him to help me carry a bed to the tower. Well, I had him carry the bed by himself, and I carried the musty-smelling mattress. I took a wooden bed from a dusty room in a wing of the citadel. I probably should have asked, but people seemed busy, and the room was obviously not being used in some time. Mavieth was breathing heavily from the effort. "We need 2 more of these?" He was distressed, as the heavy bed frame weighed nearly 300 pounds and came in one piece. It was not fancy, just overbuilt. 3 more if you want to sleep in the tower as well. Where have you been sleeping when you stay at the citadel?" I asked while making the bed. I was not looking forward to sharing a room with Flavius. Mavieth said, "The old servants' rooms." He looked out the window. This room does have a nice view. We should get some heavy rope in case we need to escape out the window, I said, looking out on the forest with Maviet. Why would you need to escape? Flavius' voice came from the stairs. You know, in case a dragon or some other creature was attacking the citadel, I replied smoothly. Flavius studied the one bed in the room and looked across the space. Maybe 30 feet across, with an archway to a circular staircase. Dragon, Flavius said, walking to a window. He looked down. Maybe a rope wouldn't be a bad idea. I will take care of it. You can get me a bed. Maviet looked at me before agreeing. 3 more beds then. He huffed and headed down the stairs. I followed him, and the next 3 beds were lighter and more manageable, but we were both coughing from the dust. After the midday meal, I finally made it into the woods with Maviet to forage for the alchemist. We returned before sunset. The next 4 days proceeded with Maviet and me heading into the woods with Flavius. I rode and exercised Ginger while I searched with Maviet for ingredients. After 4 days, my mouth still felt clean and a little minty. The potion far exceeded my expectations. Flavius always split from us and went hunting, and we went foraging. All 3 of us searched for signs of Constantine, but did not find any. I used the amulet during the night, not expecting Flavius to grope me in my sleep. You never know. I also had Maviet's bed next to mine, which was slightly of an error on my part. His loud breathing and sporadic snoring kept me awake if I tried to sleep without the amulet or an oblivion pill. When we returned from the 4th day, there were 40 soldiers and a number of wagons in the primary courtyard of the citadel. They had blue and gold house colors. Oh right, the mom, I forgot. We noticed Brutus was with the gate guards, and we walked over to him. He explained, Countess Acella Angela and the first citizens Boris Angela have arrived. Brutus did not look too thrilled. It had taken them a little longer to get here than expected. The Countess was the Duchess's mother, and Boris was her eldest brother. From what I had been told, the Countess ruled a city near the border with the Barderadians, and thought it was a good time to visit her daughter with the war heating up. Things were about to get more interesting. Chapter 110, Constantine returns. Interesting indeed. What a fucking chapter. I look forward to this. The soldiers for the Countess were at attention and waiting for orders. They were all sneaking curious glances at Maviet. Why? Brutus appeared to have been working with the citadel gate guards. Brutus looked tired and asked, I am done for the day. Do you mind if I spend some time with you in the alchemist tower? You are welcome to. Maviet hauled up an old table and some seatings a few days ago. Why don't you go steal something from the kitchen for us? I smiled knowingly at Brutus. Brutus laughed at me. Larine still has the kitchen staff after you? I shrugged. Well, Larine is upset I have been avoiding her, and her anger has bled over to the kitchen staff. Last time I went for a snack, they just gave me the scraps they normally give the pigs. Brutus laughed. I will get us something good. I am guessing the kitchen staff will be focused on dinner for the esteemed guests. I went to the stables to unsaddle Ginger and rub her down. As I finished with her, I told her, Sorry, girl, no apples today. I held up a large yellow carrot. Will this do? Ginger sniffed it, considering the betrayal. She eventually took it from my hand, seeing that no apple would magically appear today. Apples had become hard to come by because the refugees had taken them all, clearing the small orchards. Finished, I went up to drop off my harvest with the alchemist. Decimus' skin was just a faint pink now, and he was hopeful in another 2 weeks his skin would be back to normal. Decimus looked up from his work as I entered. Last night he had fallen asleep and had blown up a boiling container. We had rushed up the stairs to find a mess, and Decimus was pulling shards of glass out of his skin. Ooh! It allowed him to test his first batch of healing salve on himself. Okay. It worked, and our company would be getting the first healing paste from the alchemist soon. Decimus smiled, still creepy even with pink skin. Did you get it? Yes, I said tiredly. I emptied my legion box from my dimensional space. Decimus eagerly sorted through the harvest. As the days cooled, some things were getting hard to find fresh in the woods. Decimus took the ginseng roots that had taken me 3 days to find with Mavia's help. The wild herb root was rare in the area. It was one of the ingredients Decimus needed for the lesser healing potion. The giant bee honey had arrived from the capital just yesterday, along with the special white leather Mavia needed to finish my manticore pouch. I knew he planned to finish it in secret and surprise me, so I pretended not to be aware it had arrived. Oh, they're so cute! They're adorable! Decimus inspected the roots. Amazing. This one is over 30 years old. This other one is about 10 years. Great job. The peppermint wash is over there. He waved his hands, shooing me away, focused on studying the root. I went to the table and found a glass container with odd-shaped jagged holes. Decimus had a spell form that could repair items. The alchemist had tried to repair the exploded glassware, but had not found all the shards yet. There were also 4 sealed containers of the peppermint wash on the table, about 16 doses in total. The wash freshened breath, whitened teeth, and restored gums and teeth as a minor healing potion. Dental hygiene at its finest. Give! By my estimation, each dose lasted 3 to 4 days and could be spaced out even further. My agreement with Decimus was that he would work on the peppermint wash on the side if I helped him for a few hours at night, supervising the extraction of peppermint and lavender oils. He had too much work for the Duchess and Castile to work on my wash. Well, he was also working on a number of processes for his own benefit to eventually sell. I descended the tower to find Maviath munching on a ration bar and sitting on a bench at a large oak tree. Oak table. He really did like those bars. I took a seat and slid him one of the peppermint containers. This is it? Maviath asked. Yeah. It should remove the yellow from your teeth and fix the toothache you mentioned, I replied. Don't swallow it. Just swish it a bit and then spit it out the window. Maviath broke the wax seal and sniffed the wash. His nose scrunched at the strong minty wave that hit his nose. He took a pull, taking a double dose to fill his sizable mouth, and started swishing. His eyes went wide as the wash worked. After I counted to 20, I said, Go spit it out. Maviath walked to the window and spat out a mist of used wash. He looked down and quickly closed the window. Maviath looked guilty. A pair of guards were walking the wall below. No, Maviath, no. Oh, I burst into laughter as Maviath slowly smiled. I commented, Your teeth do look much whiter. How's the tooth? I inquired, while still letting loose my mirth at the unfortunate guards. Maviath sucked his teeth and tested them with his tongue. He found the one that had plagued him. It does not hurt. My mouth feels cold and fresh. Thank you, Eryk. He pushed the remaining half of the wash toward me. Keep it. Use it again in 4 days. Decimus thinks the efficiency will fade in 5 days, so use it before then. He is slowly working out ways for better purity of ingredients too, I said, letting him keep the remaining wash. How nice. The other 3 jars were secured in my dimensional space for personal use. Brutus arrived up the stairs carrying a pack. Matteo was behind him, bear-hugging a small cask. Matteo had a grin on his face. Got us a cask of ale. Brutus thumbed in the direction of Matteo. Found this one moping about no longer having a servant to tend his needs at night and having to do his own laundry. Hope you don't mind. Matteo put the heavy cask on the sturdy table. It was maybe 10 gallons. Brutus put his own heavy pack of food up the table. Matteo looked around the room. Nice place. Are we going to play cards or dice? Checkers? Maviath offered, hopefully. I had found the checkers board and taught Maviath to play, and now he wanted to play every night. Flavius had corrected the rules I taught Maviath. Once a piece was crowned, it could move 1 or 2 spaces instead of 1 I was familiar with. It created some interesting strategy in the endgame, as the crowned piece was unkillable on the edges. Matteo nodded. Sure, Maviath. Maviath gleefully went to get the board and set up pieces. Brutus had walked around the room and looked out the windows. It was his first time up here. He eventually came back and unpacked his bag. He pulled 2 loaves, ceramic and glass jars, filled with interesting jams and pickled vegetables, a whole roasted chicken, 4 goblets, and 6 plates. I was left with tapping the small cask of ale. I only had to remove a round plug on the cask, which took me a few moments. I filled the top-heavy goblets, spilling some ale on the floor, and distributed them. We started to eat the pre-dinner snack. As we ate, Brutus asked, "How is it living with Flavius up here?" "Fine. We talk a little at night about his day's hunt, but he keeps to himself mostly, I noted, cleaning a greasy wing." Brutus shrugged. Did he go through your things, too?" My perplexed look had Matteo chime in as he lost the first game to Mavieth. "Felix caught him going through Brutus's pack while you were getting the alchemist." Brutus stated confidently. "He was looking for Durandus's collector. I confronted him after. Don't know why he thought I had it. Though thought he might have searched your things as well." I shrugged, unconcerned. "Maybe. Most days my pack is left by my bed. Haven't noticed anything out of place." A lot of thoughts went through my head. Was Flavius working for Sebastian to find the collector? Was the goblin hunt a setup to catch me using the collector? Was being placed to live in the tower to bunk with him a chance to keep an eye on me? We ate, and we all got defeated by Mavieth at checkers. As the sun set, Flavius returned from his hunt. He looked over our little group, and Matteo asked, "What did you get today?" Flavius nodded indifferently. "Just a small buck. The kitchen is butchering it now." He helped himself to the cask of ale, taking Brutus's cup. Are you two now bunking up here now? Matteo answered, "Wouldn't mind it." Benito snores, and Colm's boots smell like an overripe block of cheese. "You should have him see the alchemist. Decimus has something for that," I said, standing. "All right, the foot fucking smell nice thing. Oh, are we going to head to the barracks for the evening meal with the company?" As we walked to the barracks dining hall for soldiers on the other side of the citadel, there was a lot of activity, with servants running everywhere to host the Duchess's family. I asked, "A lot of work for just 2 people. The Duchess must really want to impress her mother." Matteo smirked. "Not what I heard. The Duchess was not happy about her mother coming, but there was nothing she could do." Brutus added, "She was even more upset by her brother coming. At least, that is what Soprano told me she overheard." Saffron. I don't know why I said soprano. At least that is what Saffron told me she overheard. She hates her brother fiercely, and he is her parents' favorite child. I doubt he is happy that his sister now has a higher rank than himself and their parents. Her father is a baron who oversees some farming villages, but did not travel with the countess because he has a mistress he prefers. Ooh, okay, spicy. Flavius was walking behind us and overheard. "You shouldn't be spreading rumors about first citizens. It is a good way to gain their ire." Brutus just shrugged, as gossiping was the best entertainment the men got. Hell yeah. We reached the dining room, and the company had already served the meal. I noticed that Castile, Adrian, and Delmar were not here. My small group sat with Firth and Willie. They welcomed us as we sat. "Any news?" Flavius asked Firth. Firth had a habit of knowing things he shouldn't know. Bit of a spat with the Duchess and her mother. The Countess wants to quarter her personal guard in the citadel, but both barracks are occupied. He smiled. We all laughed at the table as we occupied one of the barracks, and the citadel guard we were training occupied the other. Firth drank and added, "The Countess also brought some 20 attendants with her, and there is a major scramble in the kitchens to feed everyone. The influx of some 60 mouths into the citadel is causing the kitchens to go into a frenzy with lack of staff." Blaise joined us from another table. The Countess guards are still standing in the courtyard. Poor sods. No one at the table mentioned there was plenty of room in the barracks for both Castile's company and the household guard for the Countess. We had all recently been evicted from our luxury accommodations to accommodate their arrival, and were not about to do them any favors. The conversation turned to the training of the city and citadel guards, and I only half paid attention as I ate. I was still puzzling out how much interest Flavius might have in me. After returning his coin in the goblin job, I thought we were on good terms, but now I was not certain. I was getting ready to head back up to the alchemist tower when a runner from the citadel gate came in. The runner was one of the young guards we were training. He had just run here and was breathing heavily. "Come quick! One of your men has returned, and he needs help! Constantine! Oh my fucking god!" We all stood immediately and rushed out of the dining hall, not needing another word. We all thought that maybe the men guarding the hole diggers had come under attack, but instead we found Constantine at the gate, slumped on the ground inside the archway. His arm was in a filthy sling, and the right side of his face was burned, blistered, and the skin cracked. Dried blood marred his armor and face, making him a grotesque sight. His armor was completely blackened on the right side. Wait, wasn't that the Brave? Like, when it turned completely black? Holy... But no, of course, it's his armor. It's probably burnt. It's probably burnt, because his face is burnt, so it's probably from fire. Constantine was barely conscious, as 6 men carried him back to the barracks. Someone went to get potions from the alchemist. Willie was sent to get Castile, and we waited. Just what in the hell had happened to Constantine? Did he meet a dragon? Was it dragons? Oh my god. We've talked so much about dragons. The dragon people might be coming that Loreen has a fling with. And then we mentioned dragons when we were in the tower. And now we're mentioning dragons again. And he were mentioning dragons with the goblins, but that was probably not correlated at all. But so we have mentioned dragons a lot today. Dude. Dragons. It must be dragons. Holy shit. And we will see what actually happened to Constantine next time. Exciting stuff. What? Yeah. Holy shit. I hope it's dragon. I want to see dragons. I want to see dragons. Let me see dragons. Very exciting. Very, very exciting indeed. He'll feed the goblin child to a dragon. Oh no. No! Not the goblin child. Oh. Right, I already forgot that he had that. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. That was it for the reading. I will save my notes. Yeah. Oh, my body is in so much pain. Oh. I did like, for me, heavy workout yesterday. My legs are just in pain. I'm in so much pain. I don't want anymore. Ooh. I want to continue streaming today though. Reading is not enough. I want to do something else. But what do we do? What do we do today for the rest of the stream? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Bye. Okay, bye, Tenoi. Thank you for joining. Maybe we'll do some shiny hunting, or we could do some Valhalla as well. Could play Pokemon. You mean the TCG shop, or do you mean shiny hunting? Because the TCG shop, I could see you call that Pokemon, even though it isn't. So I don't know which one you're referring to. Oh, right, I forgot about the TCG game. Okay, well, shiny hunting then, right? We could do some shiny hunting. Valhalla is swag. That is true. That is true. The hard thing about the Valhalla game is this, like, if I read for 2 hours, then I'm already like, the reading voice has already been like, and then to do Valhalla for like 2 hours as well is hard. Like it strains on me. Some days more than others though. It's different to sing. It really is different because you're using other parts of your throat, I guess. And I can take more breaks, but Valhalla is so fun as well. Oh. I don't know. I can make a vote, but I feel like I won't get any votes in my vote. I don't know. I like both. There. You can vote if you would like. We only have 4 people now anyway. But I did it regardless. And I have to get some more water. And I have to take off my glasses. Please. Boop. I've also been thinking about streaming WoW because I love WoW so much, but I was like, is that interesting? Not that anything else that it's always like that. I always overthink, like, if I stream this, would it even be interesting? And then I always go back to like, but nothing I stream is interesting, and then I just get depressed. A democracy where only I vote. What a thing. That is shiny all day. Let's go. Just go for it. WoW is a pretty fun thing. I know, but it's like, how interesting is it? Then again, I am absolute trash at WoW. Like, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. Especially in our augmentation class. The thing, because I know that they're gonna make WoW easier next expansion. That's what they've said. Like, they're gonna simplify like so many things. I should put it in my Switch while I talk. But the thing is that, like, because they have this one thing that's called one button assist. I don't know if it's called assist. Oh yeah. Basically, it is that you have all your damage spells on one button, right? So when I played warrior or like paladin, like when I played ret or warrior DPS, then it's like one. If I just press one, there would be like 10 damage spells on that one button, right? So I only have to press like one button. It is trash though. I understand that it's trash as well. But for a beginner, it's so nice. So I'm like, who cares if I fucking blade storm one enemy? And then I'm like, I really shouldn't do that. I really shouldn't do that because it has a fucking cooldown. And I should do it when there are a clusterfuck of enemies. And then I should use blade storm, you know? But now I really noticed that it's really trash to use the one button strat as in playing a fucking augmentation class. as I'm playing Augmentation Evoker. Because then it's all about buffing the other people. So when I'm out and about, right? Fucking questing, waiting for a dungeon. If I play, like, the first time I have to press 1 is to buff others. So it takes one extra, I have to make that spell for the next spell to even be there, because it's not on my action bar. So I have to buff myself and then do damage to like the random Murloc that I'm hunting. So I'm like, can I just kill the Murloc? Like, I don't want to stand here like an idiot. He's like, I'm buffing me. Okay, now I killed it. Like, when I can just one-shot it. So now I'm like, oh, okay, I really have to learn. But to me, it's so hard because there's so many buttons. Like, I have 3 action bars. They're not filled, not even close. But then I also have the 1 button assist thingy. But that one has like, on Augmentation right now, I have like 5, I think. So the 1 button is like 5 things. Like 5 spells. But still, like, I'm like, how the fuck do you play? Hello, Bobby! What the fuck? Class pet, welcome. But I'm just like, how the fuck do I play WoW with a million like, it needs a million buttons. How do I do that? Wait, no, fuck. I accidentally changed the wrong background. There we go. It takes time to learn. I know, but I don't want to. I just want to get it. But I'm trying. I watched my first WoW video on like, because I was like, how do I play Augmentation? Please help. And I'm out with 50 million cybers. I know. I heard, like, of course you can rebind your keys. Like, so you press, like, you rebind all the fucking menus and shit so you can use, like, Q, E, R, T, you know, all that shit. But it's fucking, it's hard. It's really hard. But I love it. I love it so much. But I really want to learn Augmentation. And one of the reasons is because it is the least played. Like, like the least played. And I was like, I want to be good at it. Which I won't. But like, imagine if I see myself on the leaderboard. Imagine if I see myself. I would be like, wow, look, that's me. Because that's also why I feel like it won't be fun if I would stream it, since I just basically, of course, like right now I'm leveling up my Augmentation, right? So even after, and of course we're waiting for remix as well. Because what I most enjoy doing is doing dungeons. I have done raids, a few, with my brother as guide in Discord, but I have done dungeons, and I really like doing dungeons and like getting gear and stuff from dungeons and leveling through dungeons. But I'm like, how interesting is that to watch? But as I said earlier, how interesting is shiny hunting to watch as well. I don't know. I just get self-conscious. I think could work. It probably could. It probably could. Go for it and see how it goes. Yeah. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe. Maybe one wall stream tomorrow then. Because now we've already decided for the shiny hunt. But I know that as fast as I've done with stream, and as fast as I have uploaded the video, I'm like, okay, wow, it is. Wow, tomorrow. Shiny hunting today. Okay. And we also get stream avatars. Because why not? Too cute. Will you do lurking? Imagine lurk while I fall back asleep again. Sorry, You will lurk. I understand. Feel free to lurk. Enjoy lurking. It has an update. We will do the update then. Then we will connect stream avatars. I'm struggling. Don't worry, aren't we all? And I have to change the stream title and everything, and I have to stop the YouTube stream. So if you want to continue watching the stream, we will do some shiny hunting and stuff. You have to get over to Twitch. So thank you so much for watching the YouTube stream, but the YouTube stream will now end. Thank you so much for joining. Bye, YouTube. And it's gone. Now we're just gonna have to make it private real quick. And then off we go. Oh, save. Boom. Okay. Let's see here now. Titles. Yeah. Shiny lock. Oops. Boom. And then we go Pokemon. Sword and Shield. 8 viewers. Pokemon Sword and Shield has 8 viewers right now. Scarlet and Violet had like 500 or something. Shiny hunting. Done. So, and now I go to OBS and I refresh. Autocorrect is fun, that's why Small is now named Marcel. I am now Marcel. Hello. Can it start again, please? Please, little switch. No? Getting ready for uni. Have a nice day at uni. Thank you so much for joining today and every day. You are. I know, I started a little bit later today because I decided to eat breakfast before stream. Crazy, right? Alright, because it starts in the beginning. Okay, no problem. Then I can fix the channel points. Gotta get ready to go to the vet soon. No! I hope it's just a routine check. Nothing bad with the boonies. Please. Nothing bad with the bunnies. The bunnies are okay. They have to be. I missed first. No, we never changed. Oh, fuck, right. Shit. Correct. I have to do that. Thank you so much for saying that. Ooh, that almost killed the VOD there. Okay, yes, we will do the quickest restart in history because of the VOD. Thank you, Eagle, for reminding me. You still have a shot at first. Okay, just refresh your stream right now and we'll be right back.